For every Game of Thrones fan who thought the franchise was incorruptible, there exists a humble Starbucks cup to prove them wrong. I'm talking about the Cup of Joe sitting in front of Daenerys Targaryen in the Game of Thrones final season. A blunder like that is the stuff of an art director's worst nightmare. Of course, people like me have a field day with the incident, and even Starbucks was quick to capitalize on the goof up. I'm quite keen on further exploring what the Mother of Dragons is like without her morning coffee, but let's put that aside for the sake of the video. Generally speaking, a production set tries its best not to let mistakes happen. That doesn't mean they don't though, and honestly, not all of them are bad. At least the ones where actors didn't accidentally cut their hands like DiCaprio in Django Unchained, or where inherently goofy guys like Chris Pratt drops orbs. Yep, we've heard these quite often, and no, you won't find them in this video.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Anyway, this time I'm gonna look at some more really good movie mistakes. These goof-ups could have been ignored or caused more retakes, but they were dealt with so smoothly that the director actually wrote them into the film. Robin Williams was a household name even before he nosedived into a creamy cake.
Oh, what a foul way for a bird to die! I don't want to get beak cancer!
His stellar acting firmly placed Mrs. Doubtfire among the top comedic movies of the century. It's almost been 3 decades since its release, but the iconic image of Williams' face covered in cream remains etched in our minds.
Hello! Ah!
The scene, as it turns out, didn't go entirely as planned while shooting. The heat from the on-set lights started melting the icing off of Robin's face. However, he reacted in a manner which exemplifies his immense talent. Instead of slipping out of character, Williams continued filming and tactfully improvised that cream bit.
1 drop or 2. Would you like another one? Oh, there you go.
Right on the heels of Interstellar, Matt Damon was ready to be abandoned in outer space once again in Ridley Scott's The Martian. Damon stole the show as the wisecracking man left to grow potatoes on Martian soil after an accident forced his crew to leave him behind on Mars. The film was well appreciated because it managed to remain lighthearted in the face of this rather grim turn of events. It is not surprising then that one of its many funny scenes made it to our list. I'm talking about the Donald Glover cameo. Glover had a small role in the film in which he plays Rich Purnell, a brilliant but clumsy scientist. Soon after his introduction, Purnell can be seen getting out of bed. While getting up, he takes a sip of stale coffee and spits it right out into a meshed wire dustbin. He then hilariously slips on a coffee puddle on the floor.
Are you alright?
Fine.
It wasn't a bad fall for the actor, who quickly composed himself and stayed in character. Director Ridley Scott chose to keep the scene in the movie. This was some great use of Glover's short screen time and added a nice touch to his character as an awkward but lovable guy. When Christopher Nolan makes it to our lists, it's always for a remarkable reason, even when we're talking about mistakes. His upcoming film Tenet has been dominating the discourse in entertainment news circuits and is speculated to be Nolan's most expensive outing yet. Due to his distinct style of filmmaking and the complex themes he explores, Christopher Nolan has become synonymous with cinematic opulence. This is evident in the next example on my list, in which a quote-unquote mistake was made intentionally. I'm referring to the German planes in Dunkirk with their striking yellow rings. In real time, the planes were not painted yellow until a month after the Battle of Dunkirk. Nolan, however, chose to have them as they are seen in these remarkable dogfight sequences to make it easier for audiences to tell the German fighter planes apart. This and other things have made people scrutinize the historical accuracy of the film, but Nolan was comfortable making these changes to make a more understandable version of the narrative. Titanic is still the most widely talked about romantic saga. Actors Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet are still riding on the film's success 22 years on. And why wouldn't they? Their on-screen chemistry is extremely famous, second only to the obsession with the physics of Jack's drowning. And at least some of this fame can be credited to honest mistakes and bloopers that the two made while filming the movie. In the famous scene where Jack draws Rose like one of his French girls, Leo makes a tiny goof up. When Kate undressed, he told her to go over by the bed instead of saying over by the couch like he was supposed to.
Over on the bed, the couch.
This cute little bungle was kept in the film because of how naturally awkward it felt. Kate and Leo's on-screen affair was a larger-than-life romance, but moments like these definitely made it more human and relatable. Daniel Craig ushered in a new James Bond era and enhanced the character's legacy. But before all that, he accidentally became a sex symbol.
You know, that's not half bad.
While filming the famous beach scene in Casino Royale, Daniel was swimming in shallow water. He wasn't supposed to step out, but he did. The result, well, was plastered all over the promotional material of the film. It's worth noting that this may have been unplanned, but the actor didn't technically make a mistake. In his subsequent interviews, Craig said he waded out of the water because a sand shelf got in his way. Jurassic Park's remarkable CG and effects have aged very well, and it's safe to say that Spielberg left no stone unturned in making the dinosaurs look as real as possible. His life-size T-Rex model was terrifying and was in fact known to occasionally malfunction.
Say again. We have a T-Rex.
It would notoriously come to life at times, scaring the bejesus out of the crew. In the Jeep scene where it pokes its nose at the car, the T-Rex accidentally shattered the plexiglass under which Lexi and Tim got trapped. Luckily, no one got hurt. The scene was well planned, but the T-Rex head rammed into the glass with unprecedented force. The children were not expecting this, and their screams in that scene were a very real response to a terrifying incident. The authenticity of their reaction made sure that this unplanned scene made its way into the movie. Cats are mysterious animals. They've walked in and out of pop culture from being shape-shifting magical teachers to, well, just cats.
That's not a cat.
Cats being themselves is a pretty incredible trope, and it was never more relevant than in The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola did monumental things on the Godfather sets, and one of them was making friends with a stray cat. The cat apparently grew very fond of Marlon Brando and would often lounge on his lap. This led to its iconic appearance on Brando's lap in the movie's titular scene. Casually stretching out on a mob boss's lap is a luxury only cats can afford after all, and that's exactly why this little blooper was rightfully retained in the film. Since its reboot, the Star Trek franchise has maintained its hot streak. Its scientific base combined with some good old-fashioned fight scenes make for a great entertainer. In fact, the fighting sequences in Star Trek often got a little too real while shooting, which meant that at one point, Chris Pine was sporting an authentic, totally unmade-up injuries on the screen. If you spotted this incredibly realistic black eye in Star Trek Beyond, that's because it was real. It's a high-profile one too. It was given to him by none other than Idris Elba. Chris has quite the history of getting roughed up on sets. In fact, he broke his finger while filming Jack Ryan: Shadow Recruit. Film sets themselves are breeding grounds for great stories. A good case in point is this example, which involves John Malkovich, rude extras, and beer cans.
Hey Malkovich, think fast!
It would seem that the line was thought up after some expert pondering, but it was just one of those times when a film extra gets drunk and hurls a beer can at John Malkovich from a passing car.
It's my head! I will see you in court!
That's right, a few extras snuck some beers onto the set, got buzzed, and then one of them threw a can at John while shouting the famous "Hey Malkovich, think fast" line. It was a lucky turn of events, very lucky in fact, that nobody was hurt. Not only did the edgy shot make it into the film, but the extra who said it got a pay raise and a SAG card. Something like this happening with John Malkovich, especially after seeing him as Dr. Mallory in Space Force, seems hilariously uncanny. The movie injuries we've seen in this video haven't really caused major damage, but that doesn't mean they can't. Accidents are often unavoidable, but we can hope that even if they do happen, it's only like a trip or a stumble. We saw one earlier in this video, but Anne Hathaway beats Donald Glover to the punch when it comes to falling. While filming Princess Diaries, the actress had a cute stumble which made it into the actual movie. Mia had a penchant for clumsy, unprincessy behavior, and the stumble exactly aligned with those qualities.
Are you okay? Number 3.
It's impressive the way she quickly laughed it off and prompted Lily to continue her dialogue, especially since it was Anne's first film. I am not surprised that this take made it into the movie. And that concludes the video. Mistakes or no mistakes, films really do have an incredible creative atmosphere. Which of these goof-ups did you enjoy the most? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button.